Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Friday, February the 23rd, 2024. Friday, February the 23rd. Well, we had a happy day for the happy parents, uh, and aunt, I guess, who's starting to feel like a parent, which is natural, and we knew that was going to happen. Christina got to really see the baby because this can't be her first ultrasound. She's out of her first trimester. But she got to hear the heartbeat for the first time. Normally, you do hear it a little before now, but they're making this the first, milestone. And Dr. I think her name was what, Navarro, even though I thought that was Oscar's mother's name. um, Asked, "Do you want to know the sex of your baby?" And Christina automatically smiled, looked over her smile, "Yes." And TJ and Molly looked at each other. And then Christina looks over at them and she sees the look on their face. She goes, what's going on? And Molly says, "TJ and I discussed it. We don't want to know the sex of the baby." And so Christina was like, "Oh, okay." Hmm, right? So, but the heartbeat sound wasn't up yet. But Molly said, "But we would like to hear our baby's heartbeat." So then Dr. Navarro turned it up and they could hear the baby's heartbeat. And Christina reaches over and holds Molly's hand while the baby's heartbeat is filling the room, right? So Christina gets ready and the doctor, she's still getting ready. The doctor is putting Molly and TJ, giving them the good news and the update. And gave them the envelope, said, "In case you ever change your mind and want to know the sex of your baby, here it is." So Molly gives it to TJ. She goes, "You better take this because, oh, there's no way I could not open it," right? So Christina comes out and she says a couple things to them, and she said they invite her. They said, "Oh, Dr. Navarro said everything's great," which the doctor would have told her because she's actually the surrogate. And my thing is, can't the surrogate find out on her own? I mean, just because she is still the patient. And in this case, that's her egg. The baby is not theirs until she turns it over to them. Actually, the baby's is not Molly's until Molly adopts that baby. The baby is TJ and Christina's, which is what Alexis was warning them. That's why they need paperwork in, right? Which they never did. So they invite her to dinner, and she goes, "No, no, no, I already have plans." And so as she's turning to go, Molly says, "Tell Blaze we said hello." And she goes, "Okay." So she gets over to Blaze's hotel room at the Metro Court, and Blaze could see something's going on her face. And she goes, "You did have your OB appointment, right?" And Christina's like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Did everything go okay?" She goes, "Oh, no, no, everything's going great with the baby and blah, blah, blah." And then she goes, "Okay, that's all good news. So why?" Because she goes, "No, just something strange happened." Or she may have said weird. I can't remember which. And so Blaze says, "Okay, so what was strange?" And she said, told him about what the doctor said. Did they want to know the sex of the baby? And she goes, "I, without even thinking, said yes." Not realizing that Molly and TJ had already talked about it, which of course they would. And she's almost saying it like, "But you think that they would have told me that, hey, Christina, we decided we don't want to know the sex of the baby." And really, why wouldn't they tell her? So anyway, she goes, "Oh, that must have been hard." She goes, and then she ended up confiding in Blaze and telling Blaze, "When I was hearing the heartbeat and the baby's heartbeat was filling the room," she said, "I felt like the baby was mine." And I thought, here we go. We knew it. And Blaze is like, well, that's completely natural because the baby is growing inside of you, Christina, and it's alive because of you. So, of course, you would have feelings that the baby is yours because it's in you, right? So Christina's like, yeah, yeah, but I know this is Molly and TJ's baby. I know this. I'm just saying for that little while. And Blaze says, your feelings are valid and they're normal, right? The emotions in the moment. So of course, Blaze tells her how in awe of her she is, and they end up hitting the sheets. I think that's the first time they've shown a sex scene between Blaze and Christina. I really do. We've seen them kiss and all that, but this is the first time we've seen that. And so that lets us know next week, and I already read it, Blaze's mother's gonna show up on her door. So that's gonna put a big wedge in all that closeness that's starting to happen. But TJ was talking to Molly. They were still at the hospital. I don't know why they stayed at the hospital so long. But he had the nerve to say, um, what did TJ say? T he said, that was weird, wasn't it, Molly? And she goes, yeah, yeah, it was weird. That was weird how Christina, he goes, Christina just blurted out, that she wanted to know the sex of the baby. He said, who does she think she is? And I kind of leaned into the computer screen because I watch it on my, computer so I can snip pictures. And I said, what do you mean, who does she think she is? Who do you think you are for saying that way? And Molly had to say, well, I mean, what did he say? Because it doesn't, I mean, not that it's none of her business, but it doesn't concern her. And Molly says, well, actually, it does concern her. TJ, she is carrying our baby. Our baby's alive because of her. So, oh, actually, he said she has nothing to do with it, the decision. And she goes, she actually has a lot to do with it because without her, we wouldn't have our baby. And he goes, no, yeah, you're right. But I'm just saying, for her to just speak up like that to the, I was like, oh, see, oh no, that attitude of his has to go. The minute because Molly said, Christina is Christina. She just speaks up and she says her piece, but she she goes, she didn't mean anything by it. And we hadn't told her that we didn't want to know. And so he goes, yeah, okay, okay. And she goes, I mean, I'm happy Christina is, really taking this seriously. So of course they kiss. Oh, we're gonna have a baby, and now that we made it through the first trimester, we could tell people, and it's like, okay, now the trouble is getting ready to really, really start. So Sam is having Danny volunteer at the hospital as part of his punishment, which I'm thinking, okay, Sam, because look, it's not court ordered or nothing. We got Charlotte with her court order community service. And remember, Cameron Weber had his court order community service. Well, Sam is like, you know what? You're getting ready to do some good after school. So she pretty much assigned him to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is making sure he's keeping busy, which is really good. And then Sam and Elizabeth actually have a talk, and Sam is telling Elizabeth that this phase she's going through with Danny, it really kind of scares her because she doesn't know how to handle it and what to do. Of course, she's saying what every parent, I know I said it, there is no rule book, there is no playbook, there is no guide on how to raise kids. You got to do it the best you can. And so she says, I see so much of Jason in Danny. Just by his quietness, Danny does not talk a lot. Danny is reserved. He's, he is vested in his sister Scout. He looks after Scout, but Danny and Scout are that probably almost 10 years between them, you know. Um, so he's truly big brother, and he could be, babysitter and everything else. But she said, I don't know if Danny would truly talk to me. She says, Jason kept a lot of things in because that was his way. But if it was something really important, she said, Jason would tell me. Jason would talk to me. She says, I don't know if Danny has learned that if it's something that really bothers him, he could talk to her. So Elizabeth says, you'll navigate through it. I've had to, you know, and right now she's not going through bad things with Jake, but remember Jake was a little shady there for a minute. you know, Aiden is the only one that she really has no problems with, and he's gonna be a millionaire. So anyway, they had a good talk, and Sam ended up taking Danny to the bridge, the bridge that Jason would always come to. And he, said, yeah, he likes going to that bridge too. She says, I feel closer to your father here, to Jason here. And he said, me too. And she goes, because he loved this bridge. He loved to come and think. And so she was just telling him, Danny, you could tell me about anything. If you want to talk about your father, you could talk about your father to me. And he kind of pulled away and he said, well, when Jason died, that Drew and her took it really, really hard, and he felt he had to be strong for them. And she goes, no, you don't ever have to be strong for me. You're my child. You can express how you feel at all times. She says, how do you feel? And he didn't want to talk about it. And then he said, it's my dog trying to go to the door. No, he's not going out. He says he had a friend and both of their fathers were gone. And they used to be very close and they would talk about it, their feelings about their fathers being gone and blah, blah, blah. He said, but then his father came back, whatever the kid's name was. His father came back. He says, so now I don't have him to talk to like that because he doesn't understand. And he says, am I a bad person he goes, I actually wish his father hadn't come back. And he goes, and was he a bad person for feeling that way? And Sam was like, no, your feelings are your feelings. And you and your friend had that in common, and now you don't. She said, but Danny, you can talk to me. No judgments. And so he just says, I'm okay, Mom. I'm okay. So she goes, you know what? Let's get out of here. Let's go home. They both pick up their bike helmets, and Sam's got that jacket on that Drew gave her. You could tell Jason is about to make an appearance. So so they leave, and we have Cyrus at the jail. Kate's is still trying to interfere, and Anna and Dante, he goes, you would go over my head to my superiors? And she said, yes, I would. Because it seems like you don't want information to come out. You don't want to solve this. And Dante's looking at him like, what's up? He goes, and now you accusing me of something? She says, something's off. So the guys listening, the detective listenings are like, Mr. Commissioner Devane, you need to hear this. And Cyrus was talking to the guy, and the guy was getting ready to open up, and Kate's is just looking, having this look, right? And I'm thinking, no, he's dirty. I don't feel good about him. He's up to something. He's knee deep into something. So the guy was getting ready to talk, and then Heather Weber comes in, blows everything. Of course, she's blaming Cyrus for Esme's death because she came to Cyrus and he didn't do anything to help her. He called Laura and she tells him his sister, the mayor, and the guy looked like, what? And he goes, and he told her everything. You can't trust this guy. Oh, he just went on and on. And Cyrus is like, stood up and he goes, yeah, My sister is the mayor, but the work I do for God has nothing to do with her, you know? And so she goes to it, she's now trying to attack him. And I thought she was going to feel the wire and expose it, but she didn't. But she knocked it loose. And so Anna and everybody go running out the room because they're like, what's happening? So they go run into Pittenville as if they could get to Pittenville that fast. But of course, bam, 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 they're in Pittenville. But when they get there, before they go in, Anna says, John, don't go in there. You'll blow Cyrus's cover. He goes, you jeopardized my operation enough. So he, of course, wanted to. So he went in and the guy looks, and when he gets there, the guards have, two of them have Janet contained. Another one is by the door. Cyrus has his arm around the other guy's shoulder, just talking to him like, she crazy. Don't even listen to her. Just keep talking. So apparently the guy kept talking. But then Kate tells the guards to take Janet back to her cell and take the guy they were trying to get the information out of back to his cell. Of course he did, right? And he's saying, the operation is a bust and I knew it and blah, blah, blah. And Cyrus is sitting down. He goes, not necessarily, because I definitely learned something. And Anna said, how did you do that? And she goes, we lost audio contact. He goes, that must be when Heather tried to attack me or was attacking me. She probably knocked it loose, right? Because they were like, and what happened there? And he goes, what do you mean what happened there? She came in, right? And so it's hilarious to me. But Pittenville has always been like that. The men and women can commingle, which definitely does not happen in penitentiaries. There's a woman's penitentiary and a man's. But at Pittenville, remember that's how originally years ago, not Esme, Nell, when she was in there, got close to Ryan and Ryan stabbed her right in the perfect spot to get her out. I mean, and remember when Alexis was in? Alexis, that's how she and Sean, they saw each other every day in the library. She was working on his case to get him released, helped him, with some points. And so the women have always intermingled. I'm sure Olivia Jerome was intermingling with folks. So that's nothing new. I just don't understand how unorthodox that is. Because look, they could have a whole lot of pregnant inmates in Pentonville with all that commingling, right? So he tells him that the guy said that the one who's in charge will never be found because he's a ghost. He doesn't exist. And Anna's thinking, what could that mean? Said you won't be able to trace him. And so Kate's is just looking, because see, Stone, right? Using the name Stone. So Anna's trying to figure out, okay, that's a piece of information, but, and so Kate stands up. See, he got nothing. And Cyrus is looking at him like, whatever. I got what I could, and this is what I got, right? And Anna and Dante are thinking, but mainly Anna, she's thinking about it. So it wasn't a bust, but we didn't get all the information because of Heather interrupting and Kate's interjecting, like, watch, he's going to make sure that that guy gets transferred. He's going to get killed like Olivia in transit. Or somehow he's going to be wiped off the face of the earth accidentally. So something's going to happen. Let me see. I think, Sonny, there was a scene with Chase and Gregory and Hamilton having dinner with Tracy, and just talking about wedding stuff. And I fast forwarded the whole thing. Didn't want to see it. And it's just tender scene. Tracy and Gregory were talking when Hamilton called Violet and Chase checked in with Brooklyn. So that gave him some time, him and Tracy, to talk. And they're good friends. I mean, they really are. Tracy, as he was trying to get his cherry tomato, stab it with the fork dropped on the floor. And he looked, so she slid him over her fork. And he looked at her like, thank you, Because for one, his hands, when they get like that, he wouldn't have been able to pick up the fork and he probably would have fell off the chair. So anyway, he was happy to her for doing that. But they talked and they're good friends. I really like their friendship. But I like him and Alexis's friendship too. So that's gonna be interesting. I can't wait for them finally to get his diagnosis corrected, right? That's exactly what I can't wait for. So last but not least, we had Sunny. Sunny's talking to Ava, and she says, "So what happened with Olivia? I mean, with Selena Wu's person?" And he goes, "So you were eavesdropping?" She said, "Oh, of course." She didn't even blink. Absolutely, I was eavesdropping when I went out. I know you were gonna go do blah 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 blah. And he needs to tell her, you know what, Ava? It goes without saying. My business better not leave your lips. Nina better not know any of my business. See, that's what needs to be said, period. What goes on in this house with my family, Nina better not hear about it because it's none of her business. And so Ava was saying, so you feel because he said he can't trust Carly, he can't trust Michael, he can't trust Carly and Michael and Nina. There is nobody he could trust. And so Ava said, look, since you can't trust all of those people, at last resort, she's like, you can trust me, Sonny. And he looked at her and he said, who would have thunk? Who would have thought I could trust you? Right. And as he's standing there and she's saying that, and I thought, what would Sonny think and feel if he knew that Ava knew all along it was Nina? And why he is not thinking about that, I don't know. He knows Ava knows everything about Nina. He's never once asked her, did you know Ava called the SEC? She probably would lie because nobody knows but her and Nina. But see, Nina will get desperate enough and end up turning the tables on her bestie, especially if she comes in and finds Ava and Sunny in the bed. Then she's going to tell Sunny, let me tell you about your baby mama. She actually was the one that gave me the idea to turn in Carly and Drew to the SEC because it was Ava. Ava was the one that started all that and goaded Nina into it. But Sunny doesn't know that. And I thought, okay, Ava, see, you getting all close. Wait till Sunny finds out that you knew. See, because he's so mad. He's mad at Michael because Michael knew and didn't tell him. Okay. Mad at Carly. Carly knew. Well, no, Carly didn't know. Carly didn't tell him. Now he's mad about the Dex thing too with Carly. But anyway, that was those two. They're getting closer and closer. We already know what's going to happen with that. Absolutely, positively, they are going to sleep together. So let's go to comment corner. Comment corner. I'm going to turn on my trusty dusty stopwatch, and this time I'm going to go from the top down. Can't remember if I did that from before, but Lisa says Nina is using Valentine to get revenge, and he is letting her. Drew is too consumed with rage on Nina. He is going to push Carly away. John doesn't want Ava, Anna, and Dante to get the information they need. John will cause interference. Well, actually, it ended up being Heather. Cyrus acts like he is sickly, and he is a cult leader now through his new show that Nina got for him. User GB says Jagger's son, Stone, could be the shooter in Trader Trader after Sunny. Love Sonny taking off his wedding band. I felt sad. It hurt. Uh, it hurt. It's hurtful for anyone you can't trust. And the one you love, Nina, was so good, not for him. Nina only cares about Nina. That's why her and Valentine are one of a kind, revengeful. I am sad. Spinelli sounded nervous but good. Maxie has had a troubled time keeping a man. I know Nathan was the only one that just loved her to pieces. 8:30 p.m. GH Daily Recap Lady today. I don't know what that means. Friday, the 23rd. I don't see you yet to make my comment in all these years. Kim, either we got another Kim like you. I just read a comment from a Kim this week, maybe two. So I don't know, maybe you didn't hear it. If you've been commenting all these years, there's just no way, Kim, I've missed your comments. Sometimes I start from the top to the bottom if there's a lot of comments. Sometimes I stop from the bottom to the as far as I can get. So I don't know. Maybe your comments were just unlucky enough to be in the middle. But look, they're not in the middle today. And I 100% definitely read comments from Kim this week. Now, like I said, I'm sure there's more than one Kim that could be a subscriber. So, but if not, guess what, Kim? This is your lucky day. I'm reading your comment now. Um, it says, I ain't never no female. Oh, no female or no males jail. Oh, there's no female in a men's jail. I know that's what I was saying. We know that for the males that were in the same jail was at males that's in the same jail Drew was at, and you tell me they're going to show Heather at that jail walking and interrupting Cyrus, and Heather doing, uh, what is Heather doing in a men's jail? That's crazy. The writers, in feeling off, I don't understand that. Episode February 23rd, I'm talking about, I don't know. Pittenville's always had men and female. I think that's the way they budget and want to, be unrealistic that way. We're not supposed to care about that. Beautifully says John had a son named Stone when they did the night shift show. So he could be old enough the way they age kids. I don't trust John at all. And I think he knows more than he is admitting. And you know what? If John or Jaggard was on the night shift show and they showed his son Stone, then absolutely that boy would be older. Because for one thing, Joss and Cam and all of those definitely weren't born when night shift was on. And that would have been in the age of Maxie and Georgie, and Dylan, that probably age group. So yes, if he was a young preteen, he would be an adult, and it could be him. We don't know. Lisa says, I don't trust John at all. He certainly knows more than he is telling, right? Beautifully says to Lisa, yes, indeed. That's why he's giving Anna and Dante a hard time. Ron says, two things I see Spinelli could call Jason Stone Cold. Stone. That's interesting. And they have been throwing the name around, and John wouldn't be stupid enough to use that name. It's too easy to figure it out. You know what? Spinelli did call him Stone Cold. And if he called him Stone, remember the guy is a ghost. Jason right now is a oh, could be Ron. You got me thinking there. You got me thinking. I am says John. Yeah, John Wood. His hatred for Sunny runs deep. Jackie says, I think it's Selena Wu. Nah, I don't. X Star Zones says, I think Dex's real name is Stone. Maybe he may be Jaggard, aka John Cates' son, because who else got Sonny's passcode by his gate security? Come on, people, wake up. We never knew who Dex's parents were. He's a former Marine, military. His dad, Jagger, the FBI, killing mob bosses. Where was Dex when Sonny and Ava were shot at? Uh, the camera showed where Dex was. Dex was outside. Remember, Dex walked into the gate and he saw the security guard on the ground. He picked up the phone and said, shoot, breach, security breach, guard down or whatever. And then the shots right, no, it's not Dex. Now, as far as Dex being John Cates' son, John would have to have had older kids because remember how Dex was telling Jocelyn how his brothers used to beat the pulp out of him. They were so loyal to the father, and Dex didn't like the father the way he cheated on the mother in her face, disrespecting her. The mother never said nothing, but the brothers would beat him up. So I don't know. That's where that goes from. And I'm gonna skip down because this is a long comment. I believe Dex, aka is Stone. Okay. We shall see because they're doing a lot of plot twists. And his cooked FBI agent father, John Cates, otherwise, or his crooked FBI father, John Cates. Otherwise, why did he try to stop Anna and Jordan on this investigation? And what Sonny Cyrus is trying to get the truth from one of Cyrus' followers, inmates. Why is Jaggard so bent bent off what both Anna and Jordan to be off the case when they both are so close to finding out the truth because Cates is hiding something from Anna and Jordan and he does not want them to know about his son, Stone, aka Dex. I don't know if Dex is his son, but that would be interesting. Bernice says the thing with John is a setup. Lucy says, can someone get Drew a haircut and the shave? He looks terrible. I know. I don't know why they have him so scruffy looking. Jackie says, I believe Selena is who's behind the shootings, behind all the mess that Son is going through now. You mean Sonny is going through now? Clemmy says, what a difference in Carly, man making her in charge of his company, then her ex-man out running, buying companies so she could run it. And Ron says the difference is Carly is being used by Dex for revenge. Wait, the difference is Carly is being used by Dex for revenge, and Sonny wants to give her the money, the hotel, for the hotel, since he always has her back no matter what. I don't know about Carly being used by Dex for revenge. I don't get that part because that's a no. She's not being used by Dex for anything. And then Jackie says to Ron, what? I know, Jackie. I'm like, wait, what, Ron? I don't get that either. And then I am says the difference is ownership versus employee. Carly didn't accept Sonny's offer to give her the money. She didn't want to be indebted. Carly was not supposed to stay at Crimson, but Drew talked her into it. Jax gave Carly the Metro Court as a divorce settlement. And actually, remember, Luke had to help her blackmail him. Carly walked away from AJ. Now, that was true. Remember when Carly told Drew, I'm only here temporarily, Drew, until you find an editor. And then Drew was talking her into staying. And Lisa says Carly is only running Crimson for a short time and wanted Nina to know she was running the company, that Drew fired her from afar. Nina ran out and bought the company that Carly had. She was not going to let her ex-husband, who was already with Nina, buy the company back for her. Before Carly could even tell him no thank you, Nina ran out and bought the Metro Court. That is exactly what Nina did. All right, everybody, I'm at 12 minutes. 12 minutes. That's it for Comment Corner. Comment Corner. I will be back on Monday with another daily recap of General Hospital.